good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining for Azure DevOps. I think session 4, I believe. Sorry that we couldn't continue with the last session due to some other priorities. Hope we had good sessions, and then we'll start with a recap from what we had from the last couple of sessions, and then probably I'll hand over things to Praiseson so he can cover the other areas. So the agenda for today is to cover the deployment groups and then pipelines and agent tools, and probably we'll try to spin up a couple of build agent and how can we use self-hosted agent for our build and release pipelines. So that's what we're focusing now. So the pipelines area are the most hit area in DevOps, rather than, of course, DevOps has multiple service areas, like you'll be able to use DevOps as a source control, and then you'll be able to use that as a CI/CD, service, and you'll be able to run test automation within DevOps. So all those services available. But we had a brief overview on the boards and then source control, and then how we can work with Git commands to push in our code changes and pull down things like that. And probably what we can also cover today is how we can deal with pull requests, and then how can we resolve merge conflicts if we happen to encounter one. So, and also we'll look into deployment gates and approvals to ensure the changes have been verified and approved by the senior members of the team. So just to get a recap from the last session, so we looked into the rise of agile from the waterfall model, and then we looked at the problem areas on where we wanted to pursue agile and DevOps. So DevOps is a tool that implements agile to enable people to deliver things faster to the market, because due to the competitiveness in the market, the people wanted to get things out as soon as possible and with quality. So because of that reasons, DevOps introduced built-in test functionality, and then deliveries and deployments as part of the services. So we looked at what is the DevOps.
Can you share your screen?
I'm sorry,
can you share your screen? I think screen is not shared.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Right. So can you see the slide now? Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Manoj.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So we looked at the concerning areas, and then the rise of agile, and then we looked at the simple use case on what is how DevOps works, and then we looked at the Git commands and other services, platform and SaaS services. We looked at why or the evolution of DevOps with the key principles. So this is the flow, the traditional DevOps flow on what or the various tasks or steps involved in DevOps, like from developer, how that it gets to the deployment environment. So things start with this area with the developer. He gets the code from the repository, and then once completes, he pushes the code changes to the repositories. So based on the pipeline configuration, the pipeline gets triggered and the build is initiated. Once the build is complete, we have the deployment pipelines that takes our artifacts or the deliverables to the end environment. So it could be QA, dev, or prod environment. So, and we had a little comparison between DevOps and DevSecOps. So difference between Scrum and Kanban. So I'll share this slide today, so we could have this as a reference. We looked at the branching strategies, various branching strategies that team has is currently using. I think Manoj and Nancy shared their methodologies on how they manage branches on their projects. So that's all we had looked at the previous sessions. So now that we are going to look into the deployment groups, so we also looked at some tactical sessions last couple of sessions. So today we are going to cover the pipelines in detail and the environments and what are releases, task group, and deployment groups. And so these are the primary areas within the pipeline and deployment that revolves around continuous integration and continuous deployment. So all these two areas is about managing your work. So the board is mostly about managing your work task, and then your project management stuff, and then repositories where you would manage your code, like how you want to push your changes, and how the source is maintained in your code, and how you want to create pull requests. All those things are maintained in the repo section. So we are focusing on pipelines for today, and we'll start with the pipelines. We had little insights onto pipelines last session. So we'll continue with the on-premises deployment, and then environment groups and deployment groups. So Praiseson will take over things on these areas, and probably you can stop us anytime you want and ask us any questions. So feel free to ask any questions throughout the sessions. Thank you, and over to you, Praiseson.
Thanks, Deepan. Hello all. So, in last session we discussed about the pipeline. So, and we have deployed our application to the Azure App Service. So, right now in this session we're gonna know about how to deploy our same application to be a VM, so virtual machine. And for that we need to create a VM, right? So we need to go to the Azure portal. So in here we need to we see multiple resources, services for Azure DevOps. So here I will select virtual machine and create a VM. So we have multiple options here. It's like we have predefined. So they itself will configure like which type of RAM, as well as database, as well as storage. So they presets itself, they will give options like this. So right now I'll go with the presets, where I can select like a workload environment, like development or test or production. So right now I'll go with the basic development test, and we have multiple workload types, like the CPU. So V2 CPUs as well as V3. So different core CPUs, like 2 cores, 4 core CPU, like that. So based on your application, we can choose our workload type. So right now I'm go with the default, so 2 or 4. So based on the subscription only we can select those. So I will continue to create a VM based on the default which have.
Okay, so based on what I understand is, instead of creating or configuring everything on your own, you can choose from the predefined
cells.
Okay.
So here I will select my resource group. So right now Azure Training 07. So that is the resource group which I previously created, and I can name a VM. So this is our convention. So we used to name our VMs in this convention. So, and mostly in this area only we need to be careful. So we have multiple regions, but to select our region is most important. So what I'm saying is that in different areas the network might be slow, so it is best to select our region. So
probably for demo purposes, we can deploy that in any region. Prison doesn't have to be more specific.
But in some cases, even so,
we want to
it might be
East
slow. So
US, that should be good as well.
East US, okay.
Yep.
But in some cases, it might be slow. So that's what I'm saying.
Okay. So that size is not supported.
Right? So in our subscription, so that size is not supported. So
the availability zone, we need to remove the availability zone to know.
Right now we can go with standard 1 CPU, but I will go with 4 CPU. So for if you go with 1 CPU means that they might be lag in the VM. So I will go with 4 CPUs. So right now. The next section.
Just go with the defaults and
okay.
networking, and hit review and create. So this should spin up a VM quickly for us.
I think I didn't specify the username and password to enter in my VM. So
in the last session, we tried to deploy changes to Azure App Service so the cloud, native environment. And then for today, we just also show you how we can deploy changes to a cloud VM and access your application from the public IP. So
This is a user account, so based on this username and password only, we're gonna log into our VM. So we need to configure there.
great.
So we need to check whether all the validation has been passed. Then only we can create a VM. So yeah.
Right. So the initialization, the deployment is initiated. So while the VM is being created, we can switch on to the pipelines and see what are the other areas. So just to give you some, knowledge on the various menus here, the pipelines, environments, releases, library, task group, and deployment groups. There are two types of ways where how we can define the deployment. One is using the classifier, and then the other one is to go with the YAML pipelines, right? So these areas, the releases, task group, and deployment groups, these areas are especially for the classic editor, classic model deployments, and pipelines and environments are more modern approach where people use YAML file to get all this stuff's configured. So you would create stages and jobs where you would have all your build stages and then the release stages and then deployment stages. So for example, the deployment models, you could also define that within your YAML file. So releases, these menus are more appropriate for classic editors, but we'll still go through the releases, the task group, and deployment groups. So do you want to share something about the deployment groups, Praiseson?
Yeah, sure. So right now we have like agent, right? So I mean we have can anybody tell about what is the agent in the Azure DevOps? Anybody?
It is
So,
simple
yeah, go ahead,
task,
Feroz.
yeah, is it something like a automated task that will do some job?
Okay. Any other?
So it is also a server which do a task which we define in the YAML file. So somebody has to run these tasks, right? So this task will be run by the agent, which is also a server. So it's take a YAML file and then run a tasks. So
Yeah.
that is the main.
Thanks, Manoj and Feroz. So, I mean, as both have said, so I mean, agents are nothing but a machine. So, which is used to, I mean, run the task in the pipeline. So, I mean, there are multiple tasks, right? In pipeline, we have written multiple tasks. So, those tasks need to be executed, right? So, for that, we need an agent. So, agent is nothing but a machine. So, like a VM or anything. So, we can configure VM also as an agent. So, there are multiple agents like self-hosted, hosted agent, and I mean, hosted agent is nothing but Microsoft hosted agent. So they itself provide a machine where we can use that agents to run our pipelines. And whereas self-hosted is that we create a VM. In this system also we can also set it as an agent. So thus we need to run a command in the command prompt and make the system as a agent also. So agent is nothing but a machine which runs the pipeline task. So in this the deployment group, so the deployment groups it's a collection of different target machines. So these groups contains different target machines placed in the deployment group. So uh, it will have multiple machines where each machines have a agent config here. So whenever we push any changes to this group, all the machines that are part of this deployment group will the changes will be deployed to all the machines which have config in this deployment group, Deepan. So that is what the deployment group stands for. So we can add multiple machines here, and whenever in the release pipeline, we need to config this deployment group. So whenever any release has been initiated, means based on the deployment group, we will have multiple missions, right? So if we config that deployment group, means how many missions are, consider 5 to 10 missions, means also those missions will be deployed with the changes different. So that is what the deployment group used for.
So just to give you a real-time scenario, imagine that your organization has a lot of applications, like let's say 15 to 20 applications, and all these applications needs to be deployed onto different environments, right? So in deployment groups, you would have your environments like test, UAT, and cloud environments. And each group, each deployment group, for example, let's say test group will have all the test machines associated to it, and the production group will have all the test machines associated to it. So that means when you want to initiate a deployment through the releases, you can direct where you want to get all those artifacts. So, for example, if you are working on project X and you want to deliver that project X, so you should be able to deploy that to specific group. And if that needs to be deployed to multiple servers, so deployment groups is a way you would be able to achieve that functionality. So basically, deployment group is a way you can consolidate multiple machines or resources into a single group, and that way you'll be able to facilitate the deployment to all the machines underneath a particular group, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I have a doubt. Hello. Yeah. My doubt is, so since you said multiple machines, in the sense multiple VM, we have to configure it and do it. Is that correct? Let's say I have multiple VMs and one for testing environment, one for dev environment, and that has to be configured via. That has to be considered as an agent, and that has to be given in the deployment group. Is that correct?
Right. So agent is a bit different from the deployment group. So deployment groups are the way you would organize your resources or group your resources. Whereas on the other side, the agents are the compute resources that can facilitate the build and deployment processes. For example, um, when your build pipeline is triggered or initiated, for Microsoft hosted agent, Microsoft allocates random VM or compute resources to complete the build process. So நம்ம விஷுவல் ஸ்டுடியோல நம்ம கோட்ல வந்துட்டு பில்ட் பண்ணும்போது ஒரு பில்ட் டாஸ்க் வந்து நம்ம கோடு ஃபுல்லா பில்ட் பண்ணி நமக்கு ஆர்டிஃபேக்ட்ஸ் இல்ல அவுட்புட் கொடுக்குது இல்லையா. ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் இட் குட் பி இன் த ஃபார்ம் ஆஃப் EXE, இட் குட் பி இன் த ஃபார்ம் ஆஃப் DLL ஆர் எனிதிங். ஸோ அது எந்த EXE பண்ணுது, நமக்கு நம்ம மிஷின்ல இருக்கிற ஒரு EXE தான் நமக்கு அந்த பில்ட் ப்ராசஸ் பண்ணி நமக்கு அந்த அவுட்கம் கொடுக்குது. So likewise, for the cloud environments, we need to have some resources that could do the same step. So for that purpose, Microsoft allocates a dynamic VMs to complete the build and deployment process. On the other side, there are situations where organizations may want to have their own. They don't want to expose that code to the cloud environment because of security or confidentiality reasons. So they would want to have their own build servers. So for that purpose, what they would do, they would spin up a couple of VMs, and they would register that as a agent pool. So probably why don't you create a VM and register that as a agent pool presence, so that we can give the team how the build agent work, the custom build agent.
Sure.
So your question, Feroz, deployment groups are a way to organize the VMs, the target VMs where you want to get your changes to. The agents are different. The agents can facilitates the build and deployment processes. So that's what the agent is.
So agent or not a system, it means agent is a just a tool or a task scheduler or something like that. Is
No,
it
so just to add more understanding, agent is a VM. So
okay.
We can have our own VMs that can do the build and deployment processes. So think of it as virtual machine. So where once the code is pushed, then Microsoft triggers the VM. code push பண்ணிட்டாங்கப்பா உடனே build பண்ணி கொடுப்பா அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு நமக்கு அந்த VM க்கு ஒரு இன்ஸ்ட்ரக்ஷன் போகும். The VM என்ன பண்ணும்னா, it will download all the source code from your repo. So it will download the source code, do the build step, do the build process, and then hand over things to Azure. And then the next step kicks in, where the deployment step. So the deployment step will complete the deployment to your target machine. So all this stuff will be done by your agent, which is nothing but a VM.
Okay.
The VM could be a cloud VM, or it could be on-premises VM.
It is nothing but a VM, or it is done in a VM.
It is a VM. Agent is a VM. So probably we'll create a VM and register that as agent. So I think that would clear any confusion that you may have.
Okay, fine. So that's what I actually understood agent as a tool or something that would be doing some task. That's what I understand it as a agent. So here you are mentioning agent is equal to a VM. So VM is something machine or a virtual machine where I can do some task. So
Exactly. Yeah.
agent will allocate a VM, and agent will push the code to the VM. Is that correct?
Right. So agent will not allocate a VM. Agent itself is a VM. So
Okay.
so probably where
Okay.
you can see the VMs or the agent is, you can go to DevOps and um, all the agents that you have for your project will be listed in here. So for example, the Azure pipelines, this is the default, pipelines software. So you would be able to see all the agents registered in here. So the hosted agent is nothing but a Microsoft hosted agent where you don't have anything physically or virtually on your premises or on the cloud. But this is the one offered by Microsoft that can do the build step. And if you want to have custom agent pool, so you can create an agent pool, so which would create our own agent. So we can give the name as self-hosted, and can you give a custom agent present? So yes, custom agents. Yes, so this is we are creating a new agent pool called custom agents, and what we would do, we would try to register agents or VMs to this agent. So what will happen is that when you try to, or when your code is pushed to the DevOps, one of these agents will pick up the code changes and will start the build process. So this is where you would create a new agent. This would give a script. So what you would need to do is you would need to copy the script and run this in the target machine, which you want to provision as a build agent. So probably we'll do that step in a bit. And for your question, agent pools are a way where we can have multiple agents. So this is where you would have agents. So once your machine is registered, you would see your machine registered as a agent in here. So from that point onwards, your machine will be considered as a build agent. Does it help?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Right. Right. Sorry, Praiseson. Sorry, interrupting. So you can continue with your deployment groups, and probably once the deployment group is complete, we can come back to this agent and.
Okay. So right now, thanks, Deepan. So right now, I mean the VM is right now is deployed. Deployment is complete. So we can go to the resource, and we can see the public IP for the VM. So using this, we can access to the remote desktop. So right now.
So we'll just jump into remote desktop. For the application to work, there are a couple of things needed. One is IIS, and then second is the application. So what we would do is we would just install IIS in this machine so that the application can be accessed publicly.
So this username and password, which have previously conflict, right? So while creating a VM itself, I can make that.
So we are not going deep into managing or the Azure resources because we are focusing on the DevOps. So we are quickly trying to skip some of the areas with the VM.
Okay. It'll take some time to load.
I mentioned that deployment groups are the way you can organize your target machines, right? So likewise, we also have environments in pipelines, in DevOps, where you'll be able to define different environments that you have for your organization. So for example, your organization might have test environment, a UAT, and prod environment. So you'll be able to assign resources or machines or register machines into those environments. So that way, when your pipeline runs, you'll be able to deploy your changes to specific environments. So you'll be able to configure where you can maybe specify the environment and specific applications where you want to deploy the changes to. So probably we'll cover that in a bit in the YAML pipeline section.
So one other question. So would you like to have this as a agent or a deployment?
Probably we'll complete the
Deployment
yes
group?
deployment present.
Okay.
So we'll just show them how can you deploy an application to IaaS and access that in a public machine.
Okay.
Uh,
So we
will
need
you
to turn on the IaaS. So that's what I'm doing.
Let's just go ahead and install the IaaS. So those who are not familiar with the IaaS web server, also known as IaaS, is a way you would deliver things to your client. For example, google.com சொல்லி நம்ம போட்டு enter கொடுக்குறோம் அப்படின்னு சொன்னா it is coming from a server, right? So this is where those resources will be deployed to. Just go to the defaults and install.
It will take some time. So meanwhile, shall we go and create a deployment group? So I will go and create a deployment group here. So I name it as Azure Training.
And we make it more specific or real time, like
Test environment.
test or UAT or plot, yeah. Test group or test group, yeah, that makes sense. All right, so this is a script.
So we need to run the script in which we try to make that as an agent. So to make that agent to be part of this deployment group. So this is a script. We need to run this script in the PowerShell. So right now.
You could also open up PowerShell script, right? So while that is being deployed.
Copy that. So
This is complete. We can hit close.
this IaaS, okay.
Okay, I see that you're making sure the IaaS is properly installed.
Yes. So can we stop this sequence? We can run the script. So to make this VM as a part of the deployment group, so I'm going to run the script, the PowerShell.
So what exactly happens when you run this script, Praiseson?
So the agent is going to be, deployed in this particular VM Deepan. So in which area also we can mention. So in the script itself, it will mention the path as well as the zip file. So it will, install the zip file in the particular path and extract those files to make this VM as an agent Deepan. So that is what the exact script is written Deepan. So
okay, yeah. So this is basically a PowerShell script
Sure.
where you can also make some changes on where do you want to
Yep.
keep this or install the script or agent.
Okay, so we need a authentication type. So for that, we need to enable from the project settings.
So personal access token is a way you are authorizing that machine to be registered onto this Microsoft environment, like this organization.
In the user
You should be
settings,
able to grab one.
yeah, from the
go ahead.
personal access token. So let's go to the token.
So we are not creating a person token for the group, right? But for the VM. So do you want to specify the VM here? VM of test. I will go to. Awesome.
Okay, right now give full access. So we can also give custom defined. So right now go with full access. So using this token, we can fully access those. So I mean, disclaimer. So we need to copy this. I mean this this token. So just after when we come back again, it will not show. So for that for the purpose we need to store it any node, any file. So we are registering our agent. So in this VM. So enter the deployment tags. Right now I don't know the agent
So
service.
just go with the defaults.
Okay.
Yes. Go ahead and enter. Hit enter. So now that this machine is registered to our deployment group. So likewise, we'll be able to deploy any number or register any number of machines to the deployment groups.
So you can able to see a VM here. So this is the VM which I've initialized and currently it is running. So yeah.
Right, so how can you make sure that the VM is registered here to the deployment group?
Just Deepan, so you can see deployment groups. Yeah, you can able to see, right? So this is the group name.
Okay, I see now one online.
Yep. When they go inside, so this is a VM which we have secreted.
Excellent. So now that we see the new VM, we registered in here, displaying in here. Okay.
So,
perfect.
So it is running. So
as you can see, we have not made any deployments. So you see the deployments to no deployment yet.
yeah.
Okay.
So after this, we need to, I mean, install some runtimes in this VM. So right now we're going to deploy the Blazor app, right? So for that to run, so we need to install, I mean, the .NET Core bundle. So what I mean, the exact .NET Core is to run our application in the IaaS. So for that, we need some runtime to be run in this, I mean, installed in this VM. So I will install those. .NET Core. So this is a hosting bundle. So
these are dependencies for the application you are trying to deploy, right? Okay,
yeah.
Go ahead and install those dependencies. So while this is getting deployed, can you go ahead and try to access that IP in a new tab present to see if the IAS is working?
Okay.
You should see the default application, right?
So right now, I mean, we have not made that as a public Deepan, so that's what it is not loading.
Okay.
So we can make that as a public. Do you want to make that Deepan? I think the network settings. to make this available for as a public, we need to inbound this port. So
I see. So currently only the remote desktop port is open, but not the other ports, and that is the reason it is erroring out when you try to access the default.
So yeah, we need to get a
That's
port. Right now, go
and
with
we are
any.
going to
Go with any, and
so the service we are going to select HTTP.
Okay, it will automatically go with the default port
Perfect.
80. So
Hit that. Because by default it blocks port HTTP. The application that you're trying to access will run on port HTTP 80. That is the reason you're not able to get any results. So what happens when you hit now refresh? Perfect. So when we now see the IIS default IIS page, and once the application is deployed through the pipelines, we should now see the application, right?
Yep.
So
We
can
can
you
also-
just switch back to the VM and see if the download is complete?
Yep, just
Awesome.
with them. Right now we can deploy the changes to this VM beacon. So we need to configure on the pipelines.
So the next step is to deploy through the deployment groups, right? So we have releases. I think we do have release already. So we can go ahead and edit the release and target the release to the deployment groups, right?
Okay, Stephen. So
Okay.
right now we're going to create a, I mean, this is for Azure App Service release. So right now this stage is for App Service. So right now we're going to create a separate stage. We're going to deploy to IIS, right? So you need to just select, search for IIS. So it will show multiple options. So right now I'll go with IIS website. We are not going to deploy the SQL database, right? So I will go with the IIS website deployment right now. So
Do you want to rename the stage name to deploy to deployment group?
deploy to VM or
to maybe groups? Yeah. Or maybe release to deployment groups.
here we need to mention the deployment group. So okay.
So this step is just for the deployment, right?
Yeah, Stephen. So we need to we also we can name our website here. Right now, go with default website, or would you like to name it?
You can name it Blazor app.
Okay. This is IIS deployment task. So here we're going to select our deployment group.
I see. So whatever the deployment group we created
will be shown
previously
here.
will show here. Okay.
Okay. So by selecting this, it will automatically, deploy the changes which and all, VM that are belongs to this deployment group even. So
Gotcha.
it automatically take the artifacts download. So
Yep.
here it needs to be deployed. We can keep this. Okay. So right now I go with
I think we might run into conflict because we already have a
port
default
80.
application running on port 80, right?
Yeah, we can stop that.
Okay,
So
right.
I will go with the port 80 right now. We can also change that to different bindings, so like 92 or.
Oh, okay. So can we have different bindings in here? For example, if I want to run the application in different port, will I be able to configure that in here?
Yeah.
I assume yes.
Possible.
Okay. So well, we can go ahead and deploy it.
Okay.
Now.
These are our defaults,
Yes.
so we can keep that as. We can add some comments while saving those. Yeah, I think right now we have a conflict all things, so the release is ready. So
can you go to the edit release and show us if that is configured properly?
Yeah.
Now that we have two release stages, one to release to
the Azure App Service and
then the other
to,
one is to the deployment group, right? Okay, awesome.
To the VM. So
Okay.
and we also have like a pre-approval, so we can make approval before. We need approval means we can also set users as an approval here. So,
okay, so meaning whoever is the release manager will have to approve this deployment in order to deliver that to the environment.
So like pre-deployment approval. So when we select those, I mean, in here itself, we can give our approver name. So I will right now I go with my, so since there are not many users, so myself only there. So I will go with myself as a default approval before any releases. So I was on to
Save.
upload those. So yeah.
You did not hit save. No. So after configuring the approvals, you did not hit save.
So it will save default theme. So after closing also we can save those. Yeah, we have set that as a, I mean, approval as me. So once I approve only, it will deploy to this deployment group people. So okay, can I run my changes? So I'm gonna run a pipeline.
Okay, so we are now triggering the pipeline to see if the deployment is going to the target deployment group,
Yes.
and also it prompts for the approval.
Yeah. Yes.
So this should take a couple of, I think, minutes. So meanwhile, why don't we just go to Azure and spin up a VM to register that as an agent, so that we can see how we can use, self-hosted agent for the build pipelines.
Okay. Can you? I mean, you want to create a separate VM, or do you want to use this same VM as a build? So,
Maybe in ideal scenario, separate VM would make more sense.
okay.
But I think it would take some time. For that reason, we can go ahead and use the existing VM.
So I have already created one VM.
Oh,
so,
we do have already. Okay, so probably we can make use of this old VM
okay.
as an agent.
So it is already running. The VM which I have previously created for my testing purpose, so it is already there. So would you like to remove this? I mean, would you like to remove the already? I mean, the agent is already registered in the VM. So we can also replace that ticket. So I can, yeah, I can also do that. So do you want to make that as the self-hosted, right? So okay.
Great. So looks like the deployment is complete.
And the release is won't be complete. So
no. Oh, gotcha.
Since
so it is prompting for the approval.
So
wonderful.
Since we make me as an approval, so once I approve only, it will deploy to the.
So this is where the release manager can come in and approve the deployment.
Yep. The release is started, so I will go with making that VM as a agent. So we're gonna make our own agent. I mean, just VM as a self-hosted agent. So we already created custom agent, right? So in this agent.
Okay, so now that Praiseson is trying to register the VM as an build agent. So for that to happen, we'll have to register the script on the target VM.
One by one, can I do it? Sorry, selected the download thing. So.
So we go to browser, download the agent.
But we can also
the
run
target machine.
Okay. We can also run from this right sequence. You can also download here itself.
So first step is to download the agent, and then you can register that agent with the command.
You can run this Deepan or
So I just go ahead and copy the script. Have the PowerShell open. So is that the one already pasted? Okay, hit enter. Positional parameter cannot be found that accepts arguments at type. So for that to happen, download it, and then let's go ahead and extract it. It is now in the downloads folder and being extracted. So once that's done,
let's go and see Deepan. So that has been deployed in another VM Deepan.
so we are going to create a folder and then move to that folder. All right, so new folder is created, and we are going to register that agent. We are making sure the extraction is complete. All right, so this is now done. I can go ahead and paste the command. So this should register this machine as an agent in DevOps. It is pretty straightforward. Just follow the steps what you have in here. So you run this command, and then you run the config command that would register the agent. All right. So the next step is to run the config command. Just go with config, and then the server URL is going to be the pipelines URL. So which is so this is your URL. Authentication type PAT. Yes, enter, and you would generate a PAT token just like how we did previously.
Can we use the same token Deepan, or we need to create a
No, we
separate?
need to use a different token.
Okay.
VM build token.
Full access.
Full access and create token. Here, fail to connect to the parts. So this one.
PAT token you have copied.
Sorry,
I mean the PAT token instead of that you paste a
URL.
URL. So, okay, right now we need to give that URL. And,
So we are just going with the default and agent name. Let's register VM or for the VM test-build 01. So we want the agent to be named VM test build 01 for folder. So we are just going to go with the defaults. So just to let you know that DevOps maintains some naming conventions to manage your artifacts. For example, when you register your agent, it will maintain various folders for managing your artifacts. Like it will maintain working directory, staging directory, artifacts directory, all those directories, just to get things more organized for the deployment. So I'm just going with the defaults, and definitely you can customize that in the way you want it. So we'll just go with the default again. All right, so now the agent is registered. We'll go back to DevOps to see if the agent is registered successfully. Either here within the same VM. Agent pools. And need to see custom agents. Agents. We don't see that agent in here.
So currently it is not running. Oh no.
No. So once it is registered, it should pop up in here. Because of the services. So this is a service that would monitor your incoming request and initiate the build and deployment steps. Right now the service is started. Let's go back and see if that registers the agent. Still no. Okay. So not sure if this is conflicting with the existing agent because we have one already installed. In an ideal way, you should be able to have. Okay, so the next step is to run, which we did not really complete. Which I now go ahead and run it. So the previous step was the configuration step, where you key in all the defaults for
right
the
now
agent. And now that we are actually registering the agent,
so it is already running the
server.
console.
Yeah.
So it is running the console.
Not completed.
It's completed, I think so.
It will just give us a confirmation once it is done.
Not the console. It's listening for jobs. Sorry. I mean, this listening for jobs. I think based on this only will mention like this agent is registered. So I'm not sure. Okay.
So this is the last step in the pipeline to run it. Okay. So this is for the. I'm sorry. This one is the deployment VM. So we have another agent, the new agent. Now it should not let it go.
Easy agent.
So this is the existing one.
A2.
And this is the new one. So I should be running that on A2. A2 is the So it is AZ agent. Error reported. Okay, configure. Okay.
Already config Deepan, so run config cmd. Agent is there. Config cmd.
So I'm going to the last step is to get it run.
Since we have multiple VMs,
So in the interest of time, we try to use the same VM as a build server, but for some reason it is conflicting.
multiple agent
Okay,
register on the
so
same.
we would need to remove the previous configuration. So I just go with config sh.
Config cmd dot remove.
Recognized.
So run config.cmd dot remove.
Okay. CMD remove. Take a new token. You're almost there. Just going to make use of this token for everything. Okay, that one is removed. Now that I'm going to run with CMD. That yes. I have my personal access token.
Yeah, we need to
It
replace.
says, okay, so that got registered. Meanwhile, just switching back here. So what has happened is that it has created a default name for it. So let me just go to project settings. I think we should now see build agents in here. Looks like it has gone inside the default. All right, so these two are the ones that we previously created. As since I did not specify any agent name, it was not registered under the custom agents. If I had mentioned the agent name to be custom agents, then that would have got registered within this agent pool. Since I have not specified any specific name, it has gone to the default space, which is this one. Now that we have our agents registered within the default agent pool. So this was a result of a previous registration. So where it was registered, but then we revoked it, and then this is the current one. So this is the build agent, and when you go to it, you would see the list of pipeline runs under this, build agent. So this is how you would set up a build agent. You'll be able to have multiple build agents for your organization. For example, some companies would have massive projects, and they want multiple build agents to fasten their deployment or build processes. For that purpose, what you can do is, what they would do is that they would have multiple build agents, so that they would be able to achieve parallelism. So they don't have to wait for the jobs to complete sequentially. For example, if your pipeline has multiple stages and without any dependency, for example, um, the typical way is that in your pipelines, stages will be dependent on previous stage. For example, the deployment stage will depend on the build stage. So if the build is successful, then it will continue the deployment. So if the build stage is unsuccessful, it will not proceed with it. So likewise, you'll be able to define conditions within the pipeline. And yeah, so what is this error present?
So I think already, website
Yes.
is running on this port.
So can you just go ahead and change the port name and complete the deployment?
Or we can stop that with the
Yes.
item manager, so we can stop the port. So by default, there is a website is running on this port.
Can you
so
change the bindings to some other binding?
yeah, we can change that also.
So probably you can change this to 88 so that it will not conflict. You don't really need to start that one. You can just go ahead and continue the deployment or reinitiate the deployment. Can you retry it? Reinitiate the deployment.
It's asking for a
So these are the typical, bumps or challenges you would face when you try to deploy your own build agents. If you're trying to have multiple agents, yes, you'll be able to have multiple agents. For some reason, organizations may not have budget to, spin up more machines, virtual machines. For which purpose you can have multiple agents installed within a single VM. So that way, you'll be able to allocate or achieve parallelism in your pipelines. So if your job is taking 10 minutes to complete, by having multiple agents, you can split the task into multiple agents, and that way you'll be able to maybe save more than 50% of the time. And the task that is taking 10 minutes, you should be able to achieve that within probably less than 2 or 3 minutes. So now that the application is running within the box, within the VM, and what happens? Can you show us how can we access this from the outside VM or from the outside environment?
Yeah, we can. We just need to give the public.
Excellent.
Yeah, IP address.
So we now have the working application deployed onto a VM through the pipelines using the release stage and then through the deployment groups. So we completed the deployment using deployment groups. So we registered a machine, a target machine to the deployment group. We can have any number of machines to the deployment group as a target. And we also created a build agent, but we did not really use a self agent for the pipeline. So right now this task used or utilized Microsoft agent to complete the deployment. So probably in the next session, we'll show you how you can use your own build agent inside the pipeline. So that way you'll be able to specify build agent for each and every task that you have within your pipelines. So I think we are on time. We are over time.
Okay.
I think we'll wrap up with this as of now. You can sign up an account in Microsoft and try to, you have free credits. I think around $200. You can make use of the $200 and try to spin up a VMs or machines and
Right
go
now I
with
have,
try
10,000
to register agents and see how things are working. And if you run into any obstacles or anything, please do let Praiseson know so that he can help you guys out and how to remove those obstacles for you. And yeah, I think we'll wrap up with this session. So thank you so much for joining in.
Thanks.
And this Praiseson and Deepan signing off for today.